Hello my lovelies, welcome back to my channel. This is your girl Angel from Simply Angel Tia. In this video I'm going to be working on this bulky sweater here, so cardigan, sweater, however you want to call it, but this is what we're going to be working on. I have two colors that I'm using. You absolutely don't have to use the two colors. You can just use one color if you want, or you can use multiple colors and just stripe it however you want, but I am using this blue here and this super light blue here as well. And so this is what I'm gonna be working on this video. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys what I'm using, and then we can go ahead and get started. My lovelies, before we get started with the project, I'm gonna show you the materials we're using for it today. And as you can see here, I have my two color yarns. We're gonna use this one for the main part of the cardigan, so I'm gonna start talking about this one first. So this one is Pound of Love by Lion Brand Yarns. And as you can see, this is the measurement for the length of the yarn and the weight. It's a medium weight number 4. Recommended hook size is USJ 10 or 6mm crochet hook. It's 100% premium acrylic. And for the color, this one is called denim. Okay, so this blue color like this is called denim. I hope I did not go off the camera there. So this is what we're gonna be using for the majority of the project here. And the one we're gonna do the borders with is this one here. And this one is a different brand. So this is CraftSmart by Value TM. This is the measurements for it here for the weight and the length. And it is also a medium weight number 4. Recommended hook size US is I9 or 5.5mm crochet hook. And the color is called light blue, okay? So we're combining these two different colors here. You can absolutely use the same brand of yarn. I just happen to have these two different ones, and the colors is exactly what I wanted to use. So this is what I'm using here, okay? For a crochet hook size, we're going to be using a 6.5mm crochet hook, which is the recommended for this is about 6, but I'm going to up it just because I want to make my work a little bit loose. And we're going to be using a darning needle, a scissors, have some stitch markers around, as well as a tape measure to determine our size. Okay, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so we're gonna get started with the project here. So in altogether, we're gonna do 3 panels. We're gonna do a full back panel, and then we're gonna do 2 panels for the front part of the cardigan. Okay, now a lot of you ask me how many stitches to do for different sizes. I don't work like that. Other crocheters do that, where they tell you exactly how many stitches to do. In some projects I do, in most projects I don't. So I often talk about how to measure your own size or the size of the person that you need to make the outfit for, the sweater, the whatever you're making. And that way you can actually get accurate sizing. Because if I tell you that for a small it's 150 stitches, let's say, there's different variations of small. Like somebody can go from the low side of the small to the larger size of a small, and it's not gonna give you accurate measurements if I talk about it in those senses. So what I do is I talk about how you need to measure yourself to be able to get the right size, or the person that you're making it for. So for the size that we're making, I'm making it for myself. I always make projects for myself because then I can model them for you guys to see how it looks like, unless it's being ordered by somebody, okay? So the first thing that I do is I measure my upper back. So I go from across one shoulder to the other. And for me, I get about 18 inches. So this 18 inches is gonna be how wide I need to make my work. And then for the length, it's going to pretty much depend on how long you want it. Mine comes to about 30 inches. I'm trying to make mine so that it goes just above my knees. So that for me particularly goes to 30 inches. If you want to make yours shorter than this, just make it so that it's less stitches. If you want to make it longer, you do it so it's more stitches, okay? So just understand that I explain my sizing like this. So unfortunately, if you want to get the exact same size or the exact same number of stitches, I don't explain that in this channel. All right, so for my cardigan, which is a small, okay, and it goes just above my knees in terms of length, and we're going to work on this beginning with the length of it. I'm going to yarn over. I'm going to bring my crochet hook crochet hook. I'm going to do a slip knot just like that. okay? And then I'm going to do a chain of 82, okay? So it's a chain of 80 plus 2 for the turning chain. And this is going to be determining my length, and this is the 30 inches that I told you guys about. So we're gonna start by doing the chains now. So 1, 2, 3. Okay, my lovely, so this is my chain of 82 here. Okay, so this is a chain of 80, which comes up to 30 inches, plus 1 for my, plus 2 for my turning chain. Okay, so I'm going to start the first row. I'm going to skip these 2 stitches here, and in the third I'm going to go ahead and do a half double crochet. Okay, so if you see the chain here, this is how it is, and you just pivot it like this so that we can work in the back of our chain. So we skip 1, 2, and then in the third we go in the back and complete a half double crochet. Just like this. Okay, then we go into the next and we just grab the back of the foundation chain and complete a half double crochet. And then in the next we go in the back, complete the back, half double crochet. Okay, and this is how your first row, the first part of it should look like. So you're just gonna go ahead and do these all the way to the end of the chain, and when you have reached the end, come back and I will show you how to start the second row and then how to do the rest of it. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do the second row, which will be the repeat row for part of this project here, or for majority of the project actually, but I will show you these 2 rows first. Okay, see you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed the first row here of the half double crochet. So as you guys can see, this is pretty much how the first row looks like. So not very complicated, very simple. And so I'm going to show you how to do the second row, and that's going to be your repeat row for creating this back panel. Okay, so I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then this chain 1 does not count as a stitch. So in that same stitch, or this stitch right here, we're going to go into that and complete a half double crochet just like this. Okay, and then we're going to move on to the next stitch and do a half double crochet, and into the next stitch and do a half double crochet. So as you can see here, I'm not going through the back loop to complete my half double crochet. I'm not doing the back loop or front loop only. I'm just doing a regular old half double crochet, which means I'm going through both loops to complete my stitches. Okay, and I'm going into every stitch, and I'm going to do these all the way to the end. And then when I get to the end, I'm going to chain 1, turn, and then repeat this. And this is pretty much what this project here is consistent of. We're doing a cardigan or a sweater that is pretty much of the same stitch. It creates a nice tight stitch that is good for if you wear this in like colder seasons. And so that way it's nice and light because we're using a nice big crochet hook, so it makes it nice and loose and kind of comfy, but at the same time it's really nice and warm for those of you who live in colder climates. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and continue this all the way to the end, and like I said, when you get to the end, there's this final stitch here that you will go into to complete your final half double crochet. You will chain 1. Your chain 1 doesn't count as a stitch. You will turn, and then in the very next stitch right after that, you're going to complete a half double crochet, and you're going to do this until you have the width that is of the measurements that will fit your back pretty much from shoulder to shoulder. So what I do is I pretty much measure the back of my my back. I measure it from shoulder to shoulder, and then so I'm making the width of this to be of that particular width. Okay, and then when you have that, you will know that it's enough to fit your whole back, and then or the person you're making this for. And then you're gonna come back to the video, and then we will see how it looks like, and then I will explain how to do the two front panels, because we have to do two front panels, a back panel, and then we're gonna do the sleeves after that. Okay, so I'm gonna have you guys continue working this until you have the consistency that is the width of of your back, the widest part of your back. And when you have that, come back to the video. See you guys in a bit. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my back panel here. I ended up doing 40 rows altogether. And again, this is for small and it's for me. If you are doing it for yourself or doing it for someone else, please, it's very important to make sure you measure the width of the widest part of their back. Okay, so what I do is I do shoulder to shoulder. So as you can see here, this is my length. It's about 17 inches. Okay, now again, this stretches, and so it will be a little bit on the loose side. If you measure it from size to size, it will be the exact size. But like if you see this does stretch quite a lot. And of course as well, when we do our front panels, we're going to do it so that there's enough looseness to it. Okay, so our sweater is not going to fit us like a glove. It's going to fit us nice and loose. Okay, so this is the 40 rows that I've completed for this, and as you can see, this is the length of it. Okay, so again, the amount of chains that we start the project with will also determine how long it's gonna end up being, and this is the length that we had gone for. Okay, for what I'm going for, if you wanted to do is a little bit shorter, you do less chains than we started with, or if you want to do it a little bit longer, then you do more chains. Okay, so now I'm gonna explain to you how to do the front panels, because I'm not gonna show you guys on camera. It's very simple. You pretty much repeat this. So what I do, I will show you one that I have completed, because as I had sometimes I decided to go ahead and do one panel for the front panel. And just so you guys are aware as well, where I finished off my project, I cut the yarn off, but I left enough to be able to sew the top here, because we're gonna need to join the front panels to the back panel. So I have just enough yarn to be able to join part of the front panel to the back panel. And I'm gonna do the same with the second part here. So again, I did the exact same number of chains as we did with this. And I just repeated the exact same thing, except instead of doing 40 rows like I did here, I did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, I did 14 rows. So I'm doing 14 rows for each of the front panels. So one is gonna go here like this. Okay, if I can, yeah. So one is gonna go here, so 14 rows of this, and the other 14 of this is gonna probably come up to somewhere here. The reason we're leaving this gap in the middle here is because we're going to do a couple of rows in a different color. If you remember when I talked about the two colors I have at the beginning, we're going to do a couple of rows of that here. So therefore we don't actually make the panels to meet exactly in the middle, because then it will leave no space for us to do the lining of the front of the sweater. Okay, so again, what we do again is you just started exactly as we did the back panel. You do your chains, and then you do your half double crochets, and you create one panel like this for the front panel for 14 rows. And then you start the second one and you do the exact same thing. And so you should have 3 panels when you come back. Okay, so I have 2 completed. I'm going to do one more, and for you have completed the first, which is the biggest part, and then you're going to do the 2, and then when you have all 3, come back to the video, and we will talk about joining them, and then we will do the middle, and then we will also do our sleeves. But for our sleeves, I have 2 ways that I'm gonna do it. I haven't decided exactly how I'm gonna do. We can either join our work and then just work our sleeves into it, or we can do our sleeves as 2 individual panels and then add it to the body of the sweater. So when I have my 3 panels completed for the body, I should be able to have a good idea of how I want to do the sleeves. So I'll talk to you guys about that more when we come back. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed my 2 panels for the front. So as you can see here, I kind of just placed them on top of the back panel. So you can see this is the back panel we did here with 40 rows, and then I did 14 rows of each of the front panels here, because we're going to be working around the front here to be able to bring it in more in the front here, okay, because we're doing a border for it. Okay, so that part of it is done. So all you'll have to do, I know right now is a little bit you cannot see the whole thing, but I have it just the top because we're working with the top of it. I have it nicely positioned down here like this. So I just pretty much placed the two sleeves, so the two front panels on top of the back panel like this. And as you can see, when I did my front panels, I left a little bit of a hanging string on both sides, which I will use to join the top here, because what we will need to do is join the whole top here and then do the same on this here. And then we will section out the sleeve holes and then we will join the rest of it down, okay? So, but for now, let's worry about just connecting from here to here and then from here to here. So all I will do, I will start on this side here and I'll have you guys finish the other side. I just take my darning needle and I take the string that I had left hanging from finishing off this panel, the front panel, and I just kind of put it in the darning needle like this. Okay. This is a little bit of a big yarn, so it's a little bit tricky to fit it into the hole here, but you just find a way to do it. There's other things that can help you with it. Yeah, just like that. And then what I will do is I will just line up my work like this, very nice and even. And then I will pretty much start joining my work from here. So I'll go into this very first stitch here. Then I'll grab the other side and pull it through. And I'll do that section one more time like this, just so I can secure this beginning of it here so it's nice and tight. And then for the rest of it, I'm going to just kind of grab a little bit of material here and there. We don't have actual stitches to work with, so what I'm doing here is I'm just kind of distancing it as close to each other as possible, but not too close that they're touching, but also not too far that it's too gappy when you have finished joining. So you just kind of, this is the part of the project that you kind of wing it here in a little bit in some sense, because I don't have an explanation to say go in any particular space per se. You're just going to kind of make sure you're putting your darning needle to grab as much material, not too far deep down, but not too light on top either, just enough that it's gonna make it so that your work is joined nice and proper. And then I just kind of continue doing these all the way to finishing these here, as you can see, and I'm holding it nice and tight like this. You want to make sure you're lining it up and not keeping it loose, and making sure you're lining up the stitches from the back to the front. Okay, so I'm gonna do this all the way to the end here, and I'll come back to show you guys how it looks like. Okay, my lovelies, so I have joined the top here, so the two panels, the back panel and the front panel is joined. Okay, so this is how it looks like. I kind of ran out of yarn. I think it was too short when I cut it, so I ended up having to get another one to complete the rest of it here. So as you can see, this is what I have here. So I have done mine for the final one here, but what I will do is I will go one more time into that same one and just bring the yarn around like this to kind of reinforce that a little bit. It's like doing a chain one, but with a darning needle. And then I'm gonna remove my darning needle from there. I will leave these strings hanging here in case we need to make any corrections, anything like that. But I will not weave in anything yet. And then what I will do is I will just move my darning needle to the other side and then do the same. And when both sides have been joined, then I will show you guys how to join the rest of the body of the panel, with obviously an exception of leaving out the armholes, okay? But for now, I'm gonna do the same as I did on the other side, which is just line the work here very nice and even, and then join this section here, and then I'll come back when I'm done. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed joining the top here. As you can see, this side is done, this side is done. And just for those of you, by the way, who are not familiar with my work, when I join any panels, I often will end up turning my work inside out so that the inside of this will be my outside, okay? So again, just to clean it up to make it nice and neat, this is gonna end up being what I show on the outside. So it's a little bit more nicer and cleaner. And of course, just your work needs a little bit of a tender touch sometimes to just kind of make sure you're straightening up your stitches a little bit like that. But just so you're aware, like when we join like this, we will often turn it so that this becomes the outside of our work, okay? Or the inside of our work, and the nice side is the outside of our work. Now, as you can see, I have it nice and flat like this on my work table. I have also done stitch markers where I want my armholes to come from. So this is where my armhole for here is, and I match it exactly the same on the opposite side. Now, to determine how and where you put your armhole, just measure how wide your the widest part of your arm is, and use that as a guide. And then of course you're going to incorporate a little bit more looseness if you want it to be a little bit looser. So for example, this for me is not how wide my arm is. Obviously my arm is probably half of this, so my arm can easily come through here, but I incorporate the other amount of area here just for that, because it is a nice loose cardigan that it has a little bit of a looseness to it and comfortability to it. Okay, all right, so now that I have pretty much kind of put the stitch markers where I want my armhole to be, now it pretty much just means the rest of it is gonna be where we join like this. So I'm gonna join the panel from down here all the way to here, and so I'm gonna place it down like this. I have already put my yarn in the stitch marker. I made sure it's a very long one because we're gonna use the same one on the opposite side as well. So I pretty much just line my work up like this, and I prefer you start from the bottom because what it does is it helps you line up your work properly. Okay, so we're gonna just start in the bottom like this, and I'm gonna go right in the very first stitch in the bottom here, line it up to the other side, and then pull. Okay, and because I have yeah, and then I'm just gonna tie these here together like this. Okay, I'm gonna tie my string here. I'll do 2 knots just to keep it nice and steady, and I don't weave in anything. I just leave it like this for now, and then at a later time I will be able to go in and weave everything in. And then for the joining for this section here, we go back because there are now definite stitches to follow. You can do it either by going through both loops like this to join your work, or you can join your work by doing the grabbing one loop and grabbing one loop. For this particular one, I'm gonna go through both loops. Okay, so just like this, then we're gonna pull, and because your stitches are exactly the same amount, you should be able to line them up pretty much from the first one all the way to the last one. And then you're gonna pull and you go into the next one. And again, oh, let's be in the middle here, and make sure you're not pulling too tightly. Make sure you're leaving a little bit loose room as well, so that your work has a little bit of a flexibility to it, because if you pull too tight, it's going to be too wrinkled on the other side because you want it to be nice. So this is how it looks on the other side. Okay, so I'm going to do this all the way to the stitch marker, and then I'm going to switch my project and do the exact same on the other side. So when I come back, I will show you how it looks when we join everything. It's just going to look like a sleeveless vest, right? And then what I will do is I will start working on the sleeves with you, and then we will obviously do both of the sleeves, and then when that's done, we do our bordering, and then that's how we're gonna end up finishing our work. But for now, let's join it all the way to the stitch marker, and then cut off your yarn, move it over to the other side, do the same, and then come back to the video. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed joining the sides. So as you can see here, the sides of the sweater, which is the front panel, and the back panel is now joined on each side, this side as well. And now that we have completed all of that, we have our sleeve holes already sectioned out here, if I can speak. And now all we have to do is now get started with the working on our sleeves. So what I do in this moment is I just flip my work the right way, the right side out, okay, so that I can start working on the sleeves. So we just do something like that quickly, okay. And then now that we have it just kind of looking like a vest, we're gonna start working on the sleeves, okay. And I'm just gonna grab any of the sides. So I will grab this left hand side of the sleeve. I'm gonna place it like this because I'm gonna need to work from here and go around like this. So I'm gonna bring my yarn, and again we're still using this blue yarn, And we're gonna do the sleeves until we probably reach somewhere here, so not all the way down, because we do have the light blue color that we're gonna be finishing the sleeves with, and it's the same color that we're gonna be doing the border in the center with. Okay, so you're gonna do pretty much your sleeves 3/4 in, and then the other quarter is gonna be in the other color. So I just do my yarn like this. I will do a slip knot just as usual, like that, and then I'm gonna go into the middle right here. I'm gonna put my hook right there. I'm gonna bring my loop through like this, and I'm gonna hold the string that I just kind of did a slip knot with, and I'm gonna do a chain of 2. And keep in mind, this chain of 2 will actually, let's do a chain of 1 because we're doing single half double crochets, not double crochets. So a chain 1, and then I'm just gonna go into the next stitch, which is this one here, and complete a half double crochet like this. Okay, and then I'm gonna go into the next stitch right here and complete a half double crochet. Okay, and as you can see here, I'm actually weaving in my little string as we go, just to kind of reduce the amount of weaving in of stitches at the end. And then I continue to do this all the way around the sleeve hole. And then when I come back to where we just started off right here, I'm gonna come back to the video and I'm gonna show you how to start the second row. And then we will repeat that pretty much until we have the 3/4 completed before we change the color and do the different color. Okay, so for now, let's just continue with this until we come back to the beginning of this row. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed my last single half double crochet right there, and now this is the chain 1 that I had completed from the previous row, or from the beginning of this row. I'm just gonna slip stitch like that, and then I'm going to start the next row by doing a chain of 1 and turning. Okay, and then I'm going to work my half double crochets on every single stitch around again until I come back to where we had the beginning of the row right here. I will slip stitch on the chain 1 and then chain 1 again, turn, and then start the next row. So this is pretty much the alternation that we're doing, which is the same as the body of the cardigan, how we did the cardigan itself, the body of the cardigan itself. So we're doing this just so that the sleeve is consistent with the pattern of the body. Okay, so I'm gonna do this, like I said, until it's 3/4 in. I'm gonna disconnect my yarn. I'm gonna start the second side and finish the 3/4 as well. And then when I have both of them done like that, I will come back and show you guys how to complete the sleeves in the different color, because we're gonna reduce it a little bit as well so that it kind of snatches in a little bit. Okay, but for now, just work your sleeve until you complete the 3/4. And don't forget, you chain 1 and then turn, and then complete your half double crochets, chain 1, turn, and then continue to do it like that. Okay, I'll see you guys when you have completed both sleeves of the cardigan. Okay, my lovelies, so I have completed working on the sleeves here, and as you can see, this is the continuation of the sleeves. I did both of them, and I just did about 3/4 of the sleeve, because the rest of it here I'm gonna be doing in the light blue color. And so what I did while I was off working is I did the first sleeve, and I added the light blue color. So as you can see, this is what we're aiming for here. Okay, so we're aiming to do the ending here a little bit snatched in, but in a different color. And we'll do this for both sleeves, and then of course that is the same color that we're going to be using to bring the middle of the sweater in as well. Okay, so I wanted to make sure I finished one to show you guys what it looks like. If this is not something you like, you can just continue with the blue, and you can continue to have it flared out like this all the way to the length that you want. But for the sake of this tutorial, I wanted to make sure I show you guys how it looks like when you use a different tone color, and as well as how it looks like when you snatch it in, so that you can have the choice of whether to do it like this or just have it freely going all the way down the way you want it. Okay, so with this done like this, I'm gonna show you how to do that with the second sleeve here. And then when we finish the second sleeve, I will be able to show you guys how to start the color in the middle here as well. Okay, so I'll go ahead and get set up to show you guys how to do the second sleeve here as well. All right, so the first thing I will do here is I will just undo the knot that I did here to make sure our yarn did not come apart. So this is pretty much where I slip stitch to close the sides here, and then how I will start the second row, okay, or how to start this other color here. So I'm gonna go ahead and bring it in like this, but then I will stop here and I will bring in the second color yarn just like this, and then I will chain one to have that as part of our beginning of the row, okay? And then what I will do here is I'm going to start to work my rows this way, and I'm also going to show you guys how to decrease to be able to have your work kind of coming in like this, okay? Because if you don't decrease, it just has this same width here. It's going to continue to have the flare out like this, but if you reduce, then you have this kind of snatched in feeling to it. So to do that, I'm going to weave these in as I go. So I'm going to do 5 half double crochet. So I'm going to yarn over, go into this stitch here, complete my first half double crochet. And your chain one does not count as a stitch, by the way. And then in the next, I'm going to complete a half double crochet. And in the next stitch, complete my third half double crochet. And then in the next, my fourth half double crochet. And then in the fifth, my fifth half double crochet. So this is what we do for the first, and then in the next two we're gonna put those together. So we're gonna pretty much decrease by putting these two stitches together. So to decrease, I'm gonna yarn over, go into the next stitch right here. I have 3 loops on the hook, and then I'm gonna go right into the next stitch, right into this stitch. And I'm weaving these in, so I'm kind of working with them as I go. I'm going to go into that stitch and bring the next loop in like this. So now I have 4 loops on the hook. I'm going to yarn over and go through all 4 like this. So now what I did here is I decreased by putting these 2 stitches together, okay? And then I'm going to go into the next and complete a regular half double crochet. So that's 1, and then the second one. And I'm going to do this after every 5 regular half double crochets. The 6th and 7th I'm going to join together to decrease, and then I will repeat that all around until I come back to the beginning. As you can see here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4. This is my 5th, and then now my 6th and 7th I join them together. So I go yarn over, go into the next, and then go into the next to bring the next loop, and then go through all 4 loops like that. Then I'll go into the next stitch to do a half double crochet, into the next stitch, into the next stitch, that's 3, into the next stitch 4, into the next stitch 5, and then put 6 and 7 together, okay? So I'm gonna do this all around my work here until I come back here. And it doesn't matter how many stitches you end up having here. For, let's say example, you join this last these 2 here, then you just do a half double crochet here and a half double crochet here. So don't worry about how it's gonna end, just worry about how you do after every 5 half double crochets you do 2 together. Okay, so I'll do the same here, and I'll meet you guys when you come back to the end here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my half double crochets around here, and also decreased my work so that our sleeves here can be flared in a little bit, or can come in a little bit snatched in. And as you can see, I did my decrease right here, and then I did 1, 2, and then now I need to work on top of this to be able to join, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and join by slip stitching on top of the chain 1, from the beginning of this row like this, and then I'm going to chain 1 and turn, and then I'm going to start just doing regular half double crochets all around the stitches here. So we don't decrease anymore, we do the decrease just for that 1 row, and it may seem like it's still wide here, but it's gonna work itself out by just continuing to decrease, or by continuing to get smaller as it goes, until you have this shape that you see on the sleeve here. So don't worry that just at this moment here it does not look like it got that much smaller. It's just because it's the beginning of the first row of the decrease, okay? All right, so we're gonna do this all the way to the end, and when we get to the end, we slip stitch on top of the chain 1, we chain one, we turn our work, and then work the same way you just came from and complete your half double crochets. And this is what we're going to be doing for the remainder of this part here. So you're going to do it to match however many rows you did for the first. And if you have not done and this is your first, I just do it until, and I keep trying it until I find that it comes all the way to the end of my wrist. Okay, so this happened to be about 13 rows that I completed in this color here. So go ahead and do that. I will repeat that by doing 13 rows on this side here for you, because you have to do the second one as well, because I'm only showing you the second while I've already done the first. So you're going to do the first and then complete the second as well. When you have both completed, come back to the video and I will show you how to start the lining for the middle part of the cardigan. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed the sleeve here. So as you can see, this is my 13 rows, and so I'm gonna stop it here. I just slip stitched to the section here. So what I will do is I will just cut the yarn somewhere here, not too much because I don't like to waste yarn, so just a little bit to be able to do a slip knot and then pull it through to be able to lock that in, and then we will weave that in at a later time. Okay, so this is completed here, just the same as the first one here. So I have both sleeves completed. So I'm gonna now show you guys how to start this border for the middle part of the sweater. Okay, so as you can see, we need to be able to bring this into like somewhere here, so maybe just a few inches apart. So we do have quite a lot to be able to work into from each side here. Okay, but to start off, I'm going to start just in one of the corners here. So I'm gonna move my work like this, and I'm gonna start in this corner here to start doing my other color. And to do that, I'm just gonna bring the new color in, and then we will go ahead and we're doing the same thing, which is just half double crochets all around. We're going to be able to go all around and come back to the other side, and then turn around and work ourselves back again. Okay, so as you can see, I just have this, and I'm going to do a slip knot just like this, and this slip knot is going to allow me to be able to do start my work from this corner here. Okay, so I'm gonna put my hook in the first stitch here, and then I'm gonna just bring that through like this, and then I will chain one. Okay, then after the chain one, I'm going to go into that stitch because the chain one doesn't count as a stitch, and complete a half double crochet like that. Then I'm gonna go into the next stitch right here and complete a half double crochet, and then into the next stitch right here, complete a half double crochet, and then into the next. And as you can see, I'm weaving in my string here as I go, and I just continue these all the way until I go around. So I'm gonna show you guys what I'm talking about here. So let's just do this like this. So at this point, it's not to show you guys too much because we're doing the exact same thing. So we're going to do the half double crochet along here, and when you come to this corner here, you just do a half double crochet here, and then you continue by working yourself into the, like, follow the stitches that are coming from the main body of the sweater. The same thing here, you're gonna go across, and then you're gonna continue all the way to this end here. Okay, so for this first row, I would like you guys to go all around until you get back to this other side here. When you get to here, come back to the video, and I will show you how to finish that and how to start the second row. And the second row will be a repeat row until you have enough of the lining here for the sweater. Okay, so go ahead and complete these half double crochets all around like this. Okay, and then I'll see you guys when you have come back to this end here. Okay, my lovelies, so I have worked my first row here. So as you can see, this is where I started this corner here, and I've gone around the top of the sweater here, and then I've pretty much come all the way to here. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to do this final stitch here. So there's a stitch to just go into at the end here so that your work can be straight, and you complete a half double crochet, and then it's straight like this. Then you chain one and turn, and then you turn and you do a half double crochet in the very first stitch. Your chain one does not count as a stitch, and then you just continue to do your half double crochets all around. When you get to the end, you make sure you go to the very final stitch at the end, you chain one, you turn, and then you continue doing your half double crochets. Okay, so we're gonna do this until we have the enough size to cover the middle of our sweater. So as I showed you guys earlier, there's gonna be a couple of rows to do to be able to make sure that we have the middle fully covered, not fully covered, but like, you know, it comes close enough that it looks nice and it doesn't look like there's too big of a gap in the middle. So if I put it like this, as you can see here, okay, so this is pretty much the gap that we have in the middle, and we're gonna want to make sure we bring this probably up to somewhere here, like somewhere where it's almost kind of touching one another, so like this, so that much more to do on each side. Okay, and you're just gonna do it all by completing these half double crochets around, and they're turning and turning and turning. So I'm gonna do the same when I complete the amount that I want and I have enough, and I will stop, and then I'll come back to the video to show you guys how it looks like, and it will pretty much be completing the project. The other thing that I wanted to talk about is I plan to leave the bottom here not with the blue, not with this light blue color going around like this. This is a choice that I'm making. If you want to do this, then you can just, after you have done this, you can always come and connect your yarn here and then do this back and forth like this until you have what you want in that size. But for me, I will be leaving it like this. But yeah, so this is it here. So go ahead and work on your project, and when you have come to the end, come back to the video, and then we'll look at it all together to see how it came out like. Okay, see you guys then. Okay, my lovelies, so I have gone ahead and completed putting the border for the sweater here, and as you can see, I decided to use the whole skein that I had after I did the sleeves. Whatever was left out of the skein of yarn that I showed you guys at the beginning of the video, I decided to use all of it just because it makes it looks nice. And if you can see the neckline here, it makes it so that you can actually fold the neckline in like this to be able to wear it, and it makes it looks really nice and comfy. Okay, so yeah, this is it here. So as you can see, I actually used every single piece of skein that I had. This is where I ended it here. I literally had just this much left at the end. Yeah, so this is the end of the video. I still have my ends to weave in, so as you guys can see, I have all of these ends to weave in here. I will go ahead and do that off camera. But yeah, I'm gonna end the video here because the sweater is pretty much done. So you guys can pretty much do the same, weave in your ends. If you're following the tutorial step by step, then you should be at this step here as well. But if you're not, you just continue to build this up until you have what you need, and then you're done. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and weave in my ends. I hope you guys enjoyed the tutorial. This is something that I wanted to do. I know it's not the time of season to do a sweater, but if I have it in my playlist, you guys have things to start to prepare for seasons that you need these kind of sweaters for. Okay, so this is it here. Thank you so much again for watching the video to the end, and don't forget to subscribe, comment, share, hit the notification bell, and as well as comment if you have any questions or if you just want to say hi. Okay, I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.